so much. You talked a lot about how, and the president says this too, that people should watch him when there are questions about his age. And the issue seems to be that they are watching him in public events, in some press conferences, and are coming to this conclusion, many of them, that he's too old. So what I'm wondering is he behaving differently behind closed doors? Because we don't get to see that at all. And do you see, and when you interact with him privately, is there kind of a different sort of level of vigor that is perhaps not as visible when we're all seeing him publicly?
So let me just first say, and I was on the swing with him recently, right? He went to Wisconsin, he went to Michigan, he went to California, he went to Vegas, and he's going to go to Ohio later this week. And so he visited small businesses, and he met with people on the road, obviously, and spent hours with them. So folks have seen him, and you all have seen him yourselves as you cover this president. And so you see him interact, you see him engage. And even when he was in Vegas, he took some questions that you all had, and that and answer. He tends to answer them in a light way, a funny way, and is sharp with his answers to some of you about that. And so look, and he's also meeting with world leaders. He did that with the German chancellor. He's obviously going to do this today with Kim Abdullah. And I spoke already about my experience with him. And just to answer your question, I've spent countless hours with this president, whether in the Oval Office or on the road. And I have to say, he's sharp, he's engaged, he pushes us for information.
Like emails at like 2 o'clock in the morning, or is there any sort of
I mean, look, I think
like a finer point on what it is exactly that you see that somehow isn't coming across to the rest of the American people.
Look, I think the fact that when he meets with his team, when he meets with staff, he is, as I said, incredibly engaged. As I said, very sharp, and ask us back and forth. We go back and forth on whatever information, whatever is maybe the news of the day that's on his mind, and it happens very often.
Yeah.
And so that's my experience with him. But you all see him on the road. I mean, he was, when we were in Vegas, he was asked about, he was asked a specific question about the former president. And he answered that in a fun, sharp, kind of way. And that's him. That is him. What you see there is him. And so, look, I think, and I do want to step back for a second, because I think what's so very important too is this president's record in the last 3 years and what he's been able to get done, and that matters. And so, yes, we're going to continue to be out there. The president's going to continue to do everything that he can to speak directly to the American people, and we believe that is what's important here. Getting that work done, continuing to move forward in an impressive record in the last 3 years, especially for any modern president, whether it's dealing with infrastructure, whether it's dealing with beating big pharma, whether it's getting the economy back on its feet. All of these things are important. Let's not forget what's going on outside of this country, what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in the Middle East. This is something that the president has been able to do in a pretty effective way.
And then just to follow up quickly on Matt's question,
Yeah.
When Super Bowl teams are invited to the White House, do they typically have a +1?
Actually, that's a good question. I can't answer that right now. But look, we are looking forward to having them here, the Chiefs, and it was a great win, and just like we do in every this is a White House tradition to have the winners of the Super Bowl here, and so we're looking forward to it. Okay, I haven't called.